Greece is waiting for Brussels to hand over the latest part of a massive €240 billion rescue package agreed upon back in 2010. Greeks have been squeezed by painful austerity measures in order to meet the bailout terms. And while international lenders say Athens has actually succeeded in bringing down the country budget deficit, other figures show the Greek economy is still in a tailspin. This report now to RT's Medina Kochanova.
It's been 3 years since Greece was granted its massive bailout by international lenders. Since then, the harsh austerity measures have driven the economy into the ground. But some claim that there is hope on the horizon for Greece and that it's about to turn a corner. Let's see now how Greece's economy fares today compared to what it looked like in the last full year before it needed rescuing. Starting with the country's output, GDP, an indicator of the standard of living, that's plummeted almost 50 billion euros in the last 3 years, while government debt has surged by 45%. So where do the optimists stand? Well, the good news, these measures have improved the country's budget deficit to 3.8%. To put that in perspective, it's now very close to the figure set by the European Union. But for the Greek people, though, the most alarming trend is the unemployment rate that's topped 27%, mostly the country's youth. And that's going to get worse. 4,000 civil servants are being laid off this year alone, with the number set to triple by the end of next year. And during an astonishing 6 years of recession is also having a harrowing consequence. Suicides in Greece, which used to be the lowest rate in Europe, are rising rapidly, mostly among the middle class. Troublingly, people have taken their lives in public, hanging or shooting themselves, or even self-immolation. While politicians and economists shuffle the figures, it's the people of Greece paying the price with their livelihoods and their futures.
And the crisis in Greece may have led to a boost in suicides. But alongside that, it's also just as hard for the everyday Joe to look after the basic requirements of health and get medicine. RT's Tom Barton reports on this.
Busy at the counter, but pharmacists in Greece these days are facing serious shortages of medicine, and they're worried.
We are in a critical condition, and we don't know what's going to be the next day.
Price controls and tight cash flows mean many drug companies won't supply them. Greece's health industry is denied profits and patients their medicines.
So, for example, if you came into the pharmacy with high blood pressure, many doctors like to prescribe this medication, but Dionysius doesn't have enough of it, so he has to give this instead. And this situation is replicated with hundreds of medicines in hundreds of pharmacies across the country.
At the charity Doctors of the World in Thessaloniki, patients are in an even more desperate situation.
I'm really afraid about the future because I have 2 small children, no insurance, and I just lost my job. I came here because I don't have insurance and the money to pay for my pills, so I'm forced to come, and the situation will only get worse. I went to the pharmacy to buy injections for my baby, but I couldn't find any, so now that I am unemployed, I came here.
45 volunteer doctors a week battle with as many as 2,000 monthly visits in this crowded space. They rely on donations of medicine, donations that are running thin.
People who have very serious health problems, such as diabetes or cardiological problems, they have to get their medicine every month, every day. It's very serious for them not to have their medicine. If they do not, they could die.
Greeks aren't surprised at any of this anymore. They've seen crisis and austerity reach throughout their society.
This is a new thing and makes things even more difficult, and it puts an even more strain on the economy.
Strain on Greece's economy, on Greek workers, and now on Greeks' health. Worsening scars of a crisis that seems to cut ever deeper. Tom Barton, RT.